Howdy folks, this is Justro at Metcalf Mills bringing you Story Time Tuesday. You know I love to share about my family and history in the olden days. I got a good one for you today. It's about my brother. I hope you enjoy it. So my brother, Joseph Gerald Metcalf, was named after Joseph in the Bible, and my dad was Gerald, so that's who he was named after. And he was born in 1964. My parents had been married about almost 3 years when he was born, and he growed up pretty much by himself. My sister was born in 1972, and then I was born in 1984, so Mother and Daddy spaced us out quite a bit. And anyway, I can't talk much about my brother before I remember him, but he was 19 when I was born. He turned 20 the year I was born, so he was a big brother, and he was always a good brother. And you know, I can remember, as long as I can remember back, that when he was around, you know, and we had a lot of fun, and part of my childhood, he stayed with us a little bit, and we got to spend a lot of time together, and we had a lot of fun and enjoyed it. But he worked in a machine shop, and that's the only jobs I know of him having. And then later on, he worked for a business equipment company, and he's a technician, certified technician for these high-tech copy machines. But anyway, I remember, there's a lot of memories I can share with you, but one thing, when he was a young boy, maybe 8 years old, my grandpa and daddy and mother helped Joe. He had some money saved, I think, and they helped him finish out, and he bought a little Honda 50 mini bike. And he rode that thing growing up, and then my sister rode it, and then I rode it. And it's still here. And as far as I know, it'll run. I ain't started it in a long time, but it's probably a 1972 model, I'd say. 70 or 72, right through there somewhere. And, you know, we always talked about things growing up. He'd tell me stories about his life growing up, because I missed all that. He was way grown and gone by the time I was big enough to know anything. So the only way I remember him is him being grown and having his own life. But like I said, he lived with us a little bit when I was growing up, and we got to spend quite a bit of time together, and for that I'm thankful. And he liked to fish and hunt. Me and him would go fishing and hunting, and you know, we always had a good time. We'd go to the tractor show, and we talked about a lot of stuff. He knowed I loved meals, and anything that he ever run across that was meal related, he'd get it for me if he could. And he got married young, just like I did, and I think he's married about 7 years, just like I was. Mine and his stories, just about line for line, but after he'd married 7 years, his wife left him for another man. And then he got with another woman after that, and they had a son. And then they wasn't able to stay together, so he was raising his son by himself. And then later on he met another lady and married her, and he was married to her when he died. But he liked Toyota trucks. He had an old Toyota Hilux, the big pickup truck. I say big, it was big for a Toyota at that time. But then later on, I remember the day he got him a T100 new Toyota truck, and boy, he was tickled with that. And there for a while, he had a big Honda motorcycle. He had a buddy. He liked to ride motorcycle with him, and he always shared a lot of things with me about working in the machine shop and how things was done and just everything. I mean, we talked about a lot of different things, and had a lot of good conversations that I can remember. And you know, he always wanted to get some equipment and set him up a little machine shop at home and make things. And I wish he had lived and been able to do that, because that kind of goes hand in hand with my work. And you know, I just dream about, well, if he was still around, we could work together on some things, but that ain't the case. And he liked to carp fish. He liked to go to the carp lake and sit and fish all night, fish in the rain. Get out of here, you bugs. Rainy day, all the bugs has come to the porch, I reckon. He liked to carp fish, like I said, and hunt, and he was just a real special person. And he was the firstborn to my parents, and he just always had a kind, sweet nature about him, and just the way he was. I mean, he was always so kind. And we tried to help each other when we was doing things that we could. And of course, he worked on a job, and I did too after I got grown, and we couldn't do a whole lot, but we tried to do things together and help each other when we could. And he was just always a real good big brother. And I couldn't really ask for a better big brother. And I remember where I was working, what I was doing, who I was working with, the day that I got the phone call. I talked to him on Wednesday night, and I think it was on the 6th day of February, because he died on the 8th day of February, my mother's birthday. And I talked to him that Wednesday night, and we was talking about Mother's birthday, and him and his wife was coming over to celebrate that. And I went to work Friday morning, and me and my cousin was working for me at the time, and was working out in Edneyville, putting in a house site. And I got a call right after dinner time. And it was Daddy, and he was upset, crying, and taking on, and he said something's wrong with Joe, pray for Joe. And I didn't know what was going on. That's about all Dad said. And me and my cousin got in a truck, and we left and went towards the hospital in Asheville, Mission Hospital, and we pulled in there at the emergency room, and my mother was waiting outside the door, and I looked at her, and she looked worried, but I thought, well, we'll go see what's going on with Joe. And my cousin got out on the side over where Mother was at, and I got out and walked around, and my cousin said, I'll drive your truck to my house and you can pick it up there. And it was a big truck. It was a dump truck. Not a big dump truck, but it was a dump truck. And he said, I'll drive it on to my house and you can pick it up there. So I said, okay. And me and Mother started walking in the doors there at the hospital, and my mother looked at me and she said, Joe's gone. And I didn't understand, you know, what she was saying. And I remember just walking in, and I was just trying to understand what she was saying, and everything seemed like it was, you've seen on these movies and stuff where somebody just kind of zones out and everything just kind of stands still around them. That's kind of how it felt to me. I was just trying to understand what she said, and everything was just standing still. And we walked back in there, and we went in this room there on the right, and there's a bunch of our family and Joe's family and friends in there, and they was crying and taking on. And Joe's wife said, I want to go see Joe. And we all got up and went back in the emergency room back there in the room, and there he was. He's just laying there lifeless. And I was just standing there beside of him, you know, just crying and taking on, and everybody was all around him crying. And all the words I could get out at the time was just, thank you, Lord, for my brother. That's all I could get out. Thank you, Lord, for my brother. And he was, I mean, that's still, to me, I still can't, it don't seem like it's real that he's gone, you know. He was so kind and good, and for him not to be here no more, it was just a huge loss to our family. And everybody, I reckon, that knowed Joe loved him pretty much. He was just that special kind of person that everybody liked him. And we left and come home, and Daddy, he was here at the house, and his family here, and just, I remember going out to the funeral home the day that the day that we was going to have his evening service, you know, receiving friends, and I sat in there with him all day, stayed with him all day, and about 5 o'clock, people started coming in, and I think it went on till about 9:30, people coming through and, you know, shaking our hand and talking to us, and there was just so many people come to that because they love Joe. And I remember this one man in particular. Joe traveled all over the place in western North Carolina and East Tennessee and working on these copy machines, servicing them and stuff. And there's this one man I remember in particular that come to that. And I remember him saying, he said, you know, I didn't know Joseph, but he serviced our copy machine, and you know, we thought the world of him, and when I heard about what had happened, I knew I had to come and be part of this, you know, and just because we thought so much of Joseph. And like I said, there's a lot of people there that evening. They had to take them in the chapel and set them down and waiting to go in and go through the line. But he just you know, it kind of leaves a big hole when you lose somebody like that. And my parents, but what I was going to talk about was my mother. That was her firstborn child, and she was so close to him, you know, and the strength that she had and showed through all that, I still can't fathom that. And she had a peace about her, and like she always said, her strength come from the Lord. And that day it showed fully. And the days thereafter, because I mean she was sad and cried a lot and stuff, but the strength that she had, it helped all of us. But that's how she was, you know. She's always helped and supported everybody, so it's just amazing to me still, like, the strength she had through all that. And then her and Daddy, you know, they lost their oldest boy, and it was, I don't know. You ain't supposed to, you youngins ain't supposed to die before you do, but sometimes they do. But our family, me and my brother and my sister, that was all of us. And now Mother and Daddy's gone and Joe's gone. It's just me and my sister. But the thing about it is I don't get to see them no more. But when I'm around my sister and I get to see her, I see the same things in her that made up my family and my parents and my brother and me. I see the same things in her. So you may have lost somebody, but if they was what you call a good person, they left a lot of things. And if you just look around, you will see them. And every time that I get to be around my sister, I get to see them things. And that same beauty and love is who my sister is. And that's why. Because the kindness of people when they're kind, that's how they're remembered. That's a mark that they leave on other people. And a friend of mine said the other day, Sunday, you know, we're made up of everybody we've come in contact with through our life. That's molded us a little bit and formed us to who we are. And that's so true. And you learn, hopefully you learn and can see that, because although they're gone, if I look around, I can still see them. And it helps a lot to fill the hole that's the loss. And it's a blessing. And like I said, it's just me and my sister now, but I can see all these wonderful things when I look at her and interact with her, and it really does a lot to close that gap and heal you and make you feel better. But if you've lost somebody in your life, don't just focus on that loss. And this is me speaking from my own experience. I ain't trying to tell nobody what to do or how to feel. If you've lost somebody in your life, just don't try to focus on that loss. If you cared that much for them, I'm sure that you can look around and you can find them if you look hard enough and in the right place. And that helps you a lot. Folks, this is Justro at Metcalf Mills. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about my brother today. And most of all, I hope this video helps you in some way. I look forward to seeing you next time.